My dear student, welcome back. In this session, I'm going to talk about Python data types. Mastering Python data type is very important. We have seen that variables can store different data types. So name equal to Harrison and number equals to 9. We can verify the data type of name and number. So by using the type function. So with the help of type function, name should spit out string, and which is true. Harrison is a string, and type of number should give us an integer. Perfect. So we use type function to know the data type. So let's proceed. Setting the specific data type. Previously, we encountered an error while I was trying to add a string and a variable. So I was trying to add s equal to 5, which is an integer, and y equal to Harrison as a string. In this case, this is a string. So I was trying to print the addition of s plus y, and Python yelled at us that there's a typo error. So to resolve this problem, we can convert this integer variable, which is s, to a string. How can we do that? It's very simple. All we need to do is to implement the string method. So str is a string method. We just need to pass in our variable s. So what we are actually doing, we are converting this integer to a string. So now if I press the return key, I have 5 Harrison. Perfect. Python numbers. Integer, float, and complex are the 3 numerical types in Python. So s equal to 5, this is an integer. Y equal to 4.4, this is a floating point number, and z equal to 4g, this is a complex number, and as always we can verify it with the type function. So type of s should produce an integer, which is this. That of y is a float, and z should produce complex. So integer, an integer, int, which is this, an int means integer. That is a whole number. This could be positive or negative. So let me raise this up. y equal to 1 is a positive integer number or a whole number, and z equal to negative 3 is a negative integer number, and an integer doesn't have a limit, so we can store z, we can store whatever amount of number that we want to store. It's still possible. We can verify it by using the print function, print, and we can pass in our type function as well, just to verify. That of y, this will give us an integer, and s should be an integer as well, because negative 3 is a negative integer, and that of y should z should spit out an integer as well. So float or floating point number can be positive or negative. S equal to 5.5 and z equal to negative 43 point. All these are a floating point number, and we can verify that with the type. S should be float, and z as well is float. So let's move on to, there's something that I want to tell you about float. Float can be scientific numbers with an e to denote the power of 10. So this is a float as well. S is equal to 5e, which represent raised to the power of 2, and we can verify that with the type S. This is a float. The type is float as well. So complex numbers are written with a j as the imaginary part. So y equal to 5j and z equal to negative 4j. All these are complex numbers. So we can verify it with the type equals to y. This is complex, and z, this is complex as well. So type conversion. In programming, sometimes it is mandatory that we convert from one type to another. So let's convert from integer to float, and from float to an integer, and from int to complex. So we use the int and float and complex method to do that. So we use this int method and float method and complex method to do our type conversion. So let's say we have s is equal to 617 and y is equals to a complex number 6.4, and z is equal to a complex number 5j, which is a complex number. So let's do the conversion. So let's convert from from integer to float in this case. So let's say a is equal to float method. So it wants to convert a float to an integer. So in this case, we need to pass in y, because y is we need to pass in s, because s is an integer. So we are converting from an integer to float. So let's convert from float to integer. So b is equal to int y. So y is a floating point, so we're converting from float on integer. And the last one is that let's convert from integer to complex. So c is equal to complex method, then we need to pass in s, which is an integer. So we can verify this by using print. Let's print them out and see. Let's print the value of a. Now it should be floating point number, and b, we're expecting b convert from float to be an integer number. So now it's an integer number, and R of c should be a complex number, which is true. And we can verify that with the type as well. Type of a, we expect it to be a float, which is correct, and type of b should be, because in b we convert from float to an integer, so we expect an integer, which is correct. And type of c, we convert from integer to complex, so type of c should be complex, which is which is perfect. So I have a sad news for you about random number. Unfortunately, Python does not have a random function to make a random number. So let's say we want to generate a random number between 1 to 10. We just want to generate it each time the random number is called. So, but the good news is that Python has a built-in module called random that we use to implement random numbers. So all we need to do is to import that module. So import random, and now we can call the print function, and we can take the random that we imported, and we can call a method. As you can see, you see the power of Python. Python bring a list of method that we can use. So in this case, we want to make use of the round range. So as you can see, it has a save, it has a start, stop, step, and integer as well. So we call these, and we want you to begin from 1, and we need 10. So each time we call we call the round range, we receive a different random number. So in this case, we receive 7. Again, we receive 3, 5, 8. You see, keep generating and keep changing as well. So this ends this section, and see you in the next section. Bye.